points being exchanged there, both sides. And that's how it was the last time we played them. So I sort of felt like it would be another high-scoring game. But who knew? And then it just ended up being a foul at the end that sent us to the line for the last 2 points. I mean, we weren't purposefully trying to go for the 100th point. But anyway, the kids hit the free throws down the stretch and got us up over that mark.
If you talk about now, you had to make a change in the starters. Haley was unable to go, and you go. I mean, Olivia plays some, and Allison plays some. Just talk about how they contributed, or were really had to contribute, in the ball game.
Well, I think, luckily for us, we've been sort of preparing our younger kids, as we've talked about a number of times. The 3 freshmen that we have that are playing minutes, we're committing to, getting them 10 minutes a game. That's really what we're trying to do, as well as, getting Allison minutes. So when the change had to be made with, Haley being injured, first of all, we had all week to prepare, so we slid Olivia in immediately in practice, and actually, I didn't even make the statement. I just came into practice and said, give me the first 5 out on the floor on offense. And I think the girls, the other starters, kind of were like, Liv, come on. And, she put on the white jersey or whatever color jersey we were in that day. And she kind of was anointed by the group as that person. And that's, the way we were going anyway. But really tried to make it like it was just another day at the office. Now, I know for Olivia, for a couple of reasons, one, that was her first college start, obviously, but she's gotten a lot of minutes lately. You look back through our last few games, she's had some 30-minute games in the last, because Haley's been in foul trouble. So it kind of progressed towards this being a more comfortable transition for her. And then Olivia lost a loved one right before coming to college from cancer, and so having this be the pink game and everything, she was very just thinking, wow, how fitting that this would be the game she steps in and got her first collegiate start. So I was really happy with the way they both contributed, and you can see we were sort of doing the offensive defensive subbing at the end of the game. Allison and all 5'8" of her playing our center position.
She battles.
She sure does. She battles, and really, I mean, she makes a statement. You are going to have to outwork me to get around me, or to out rebound me, or to whatever. And there are times when her height, doesn't allow her to win that battle, but she sure isn't going to be outworked. So, together they were able to piece together a really solid game for us.
You have another player of the week.
Okay.
How about that?
It's great.
Yeah, and I would suppose if you would look at your first 5, you might not figure that Adeswa would be one who we're talking about being player of the week. Just talk about how she's come around. Last year she didn't play a whole lot.
No.
Scored 11 points, I think, in her first year, and now all of a sudden she's kind of blossomed on the scene.
She has, and I think a lot of things are really neat for her in this transition. She's the only sophomore in the lineup, so she's playing with a senior and 3 juniors who have a lot of experience. She's playing with 4 players who have in any given game been our key player, so they have commanded a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. And so she's been able to sort of find her way, and realizing that she can play in that realm as well. So she's had some really big games for us. Our kids really are very confident in her and want her to take the shot and make the play and that kind of thing. So she had, I think Renee wrote that she had, in her last 3 games, averaged 19 points a game. Who knew? And I mean, really, she's a very solid player, sort of waiting for her opportunity to shine. And she and I have talked about that she now is the time she needs to be growing into that type of player, because eventually, the torch will be passed, and she will have the most experience, and she will be, our go-to player, so to speak. So, you see that she's really taking on a greater role in a really nice way. And last week, we were sort of lamenting as we were getting ready for nominating for Player of the Week, and Des had 2 really big games. First of all, she had hit 7 threes at Valpo, and then she picked off the point guard against Youngstown and scored the winning basket with her steal and layup. And we had just said how nice it would be to nominate her for Player of the Week, because we sort of felt like she had earned that. Yet statistically, Corey had scored all these points and grabbed all these rebounds and assists and all that. It was just really difficult numbers wise. We weren't sure that Des would be recognized that way. So last week Corey got it, and this week we had another opportunity with her putting up such great numbers and the win over Wright State. So really glad to see, because it's been coming for her. She deserves it.
What about in this last game against Wright State, her shooting, 7 of 10, 5 of 6, and 4 of 5, from 3-point and, regular land and free throw. I mean, that's, right. For a guard, that's, 70%, 90%,
Tremendous.
I mean,
and she is, in the beginning, as she first started taking on this starting position, she was sort of that kid that we were going to kick to and you could shoot the 3.
Right.
And, we talk a lot about, well, before you can do everything, you got to be good at something. And that was what, she was sort of her thing, knock down the 3 when we had a drive and kick. And look at all of our penetrators. We have Corey's a penetrator, and Kirsten's a penetrator, and Imani's a penetrator. And so Des could be, sort of the recipient of the kickouts. And so she was able to do that. Well, now people come flying out at her. She can fake it and drive, and now she's becoming a more all-around player because of her ability to shoot the ball. So you see how well she shoots it from 3 and what she's done over the last few games especially, but it's opening up other parts of her game. She can surely do those other things. It's just that that's what we needed her to do in the beginning, and now her game is opening up.
So you're happy with her defense too, then, right?
Well, I am, yeah. And she gets back in the hole for us, so she doesn't. You never see her with offensive rebounds. She's not going to be. She's not going to be able to do what Corey does on the rebounding, and or even Kirsten, because as soon as we shoot the ball, wherever Des is on the floor, she has to run to the other end of the floor. We don't allow her to offensive rebound at all.
Right.
Even if she shoots it, she has to get back. So but that's what she does for us, and she always asks me, when we have put other people in the game, can they be in the hole? And I'm like, no, you're pretty good at it. You get back in and get in the hole, and and this is what you do for us. And she stopped a number of transition baskets by kind of playing that cat and mouse game. When it's 2-on-1 and it's like you're the goalie back there. You got to protect the basket, and she made some good reads and broke up some passes for layups. So she does well at both ends of the floor. She's becoming a really all-around player.
When she came out of Reynoldsburg, her numbers weren't overwhelming, to say the least. What did you see back then that thought she could fit in here?
Well, someone had called attention to her for us, and we were attending the state tournament games, and Reynoldsburg's been just dominating. And when I took the job here, there was a freshman on the team who was just coming in from Reynoldsburg. And so one of the first calls I made was to her and to Jack, who is the Reynoldsburg coach. And so Jack and I have known each other for years. And it wasn't him that brought our attention to Des, but it was somebody else. And after the state tournament game, I waited around to speak to him and just asked him, what do you think of her? What is your, and she came off the bench for Reynoldsburg. She was our 6th man. And so, he had a lot of good things to say about her, and he definitely knows the game, and he knows what we do, and he's been a really big supporter of us, and knew that she was a great kid and from a great family, and that she would be someone who would really work hard for us and fill a, it was a late signing period.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I think she's a kid you'd really want to invite into your group. So we did, and I see him all the time. I run into him at, the Classic in the Country and other recruiting situations. We go down to watch them play, and then actually he texts with me an awful lot. And I've told him every time she's had a good game, I've texted and said, I don't know if you saw this, but Des hit 7 threes against Valpo, and he's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? And I got to get there for a game. He keeps saying, I got to get there for a game. And then I just told him, I told him she stole the, Stoll made the winning basket against Youngstown, and then I said, she had a great game against, So he's just been like, I am so glad this has worked out because it's a great fit for her. She's close enough to her family for them to see her play, and family's very important to her. So we didn't really know everything we were going to get with her, but we knew that she was a solid kid who'd work really hard and was talented, and that the sky was the limit.
You're one game behind Green Bay. You've played the two bottom feeders this week at home. Could you talk about that?
I think this is a really important week for us, and now in the situation that we're in, every week is an important week for us. And I'm not sure that I've ever been in here and didn't say that this is an important week for us. But it's important because we need to be able to win 2 games at home prior to going on the road. Now, the end of our conference season is going to be pretty rugged. I mean, we've got a lot of away games, and after this weekend, I think only one more homestand. So we have really got to take care of business here. And the other, the thing about it, I don't know that I feel any great security in playing, the 8 and 9 team in the league. These teams, I watched the game last night. UIC played at Valpo, and UIC jumped out to a 31-12 lead in the game, and within probably 8 minutes, it was a 2-point game. So Valpo is just one of those teams that's never going away, and they cut it in the second half. They cut it to 5. And they're a team of runs, and they have done a really good job of, playing in these games. They just haven't figured out how to, I guess turn that corner. We've been there before. We totally get that, but they're close, and so that's from a coaching perspective. That's you better be prepared. That's a scary thing. And then with Detroit, that was a close game. Both of these games were close games for us up there at Valpo and at Detroit. So, there are no easy games, and there's nothing that can be overlooked here. If we really want to keep ourselves in contention here, because, we're one game out of first place, but we're in a logjam with 5 teams, and we got a 6th one knocking on the door. So it's going to be a race to the finish, and I think I said every time I've been here, it's all about consistency. We have to play, can't have really good games and really bad games. We have got to be consistent.
Any chance that your team is looking ahead here at all, knowing what's coming up next week? You think there's any chance of that or not? Or
I don't
are they going to
think
be
so.
focused just on these 2 home games?
I hope they're focusing on one game right now, and that's the Valpo game. And yesterday we practiced, and we're working on some things defensively, and we weren't doing a very good job on the court. And you could hear them talking about this is important. We all we need to get this right, and I think they're very focused. Just we need to be able to adjust quickly to what we're going to face. Offensively, we have identified what hurt us against Valpo the last time we played them, and what we need to be better at this game. And we have to not just be committed to it, because I think our kids are very committed to it. We told them, we'll show them today on film what it is that we struggled with. And they're 100% committed to doing it. But it's also about getting it done, getting it done. So, I don't think they're looking ahead. I hope they're not looking ahead. I really would doubt that. It's one game at a time. And this is a group of kids who've seen, really good stretches and then really bad stretches. And so they just have to focus on what is right now. And I think they get that.